Hey community, here is our workout for Monday. Looking forward to seeing you all. Okay, we are gonna do another EMOM for Monday. A slightly shorter one. It's gonna be 24 minutes long. I really liked what we accomplished on Saturday. Everybody got a good workout, even though we had a lot of complicated movements and transitions. Really proud of you guys, especially those of you that had to be really creative with how you attacked it. So we're gonna keep that going. We're gonna do another EMOM today. This EMOM though is gonna be different. So normally I'm always trying to give you 15, 20 seconds of rest at the end of the round. However, this time we're gonna have a full minute of rest every 4 minutes. But each round, I want you to spend as much time as possible working with no rest. So what we're gonna do is do some movements for maximum repetitions and then switch on the minute as quickly as possible to the next movement. And then store all our rest up for every fourth round. So we'll talk about a little more at the end about what that will involve and how you have to plug yourself in to make sure you get this done. But now let's go to the movements. Okay, so first things first, movement number one, we're gonna do a combination of a ground to overhead or a snatch, then a strict press or push press right afterwards. So let me show you what that looks like. I've got my weight here. You guys all know what a snatch is. I take the weight from down here and pull it up all the way overhead in one movement. Then I'm gonna bring it back down and press it up. Then do the same thing over again. Snatch to press. Now, if we're on our knees, this is the same thing. We go from the ground to snatch and then press. It'll be the same thing if we're seated as well. So the idea here is just to continue this for as many reps as you can until we switch. Now, I'm gonna give a 5 or 10 second warning at the end, actually probably a 20-second warning too. So you know how much time you need to switch to the next movement. So the next movement is gonna be, let's see here. I always make it so complicated, I can't remember. We're now gonna do a push-up plus 2 mountain climbers or shoulder taps. This is very similar to a progression we had on Saturday. This time, we're just focusing on these two movements and repeating them. There's no air squats this time or hip movement. So we push up, and then mountain climber and mountain climber. And for the mountain climber, I want any version. We can do rotational where we go to the opposite knee. Chris, I know that's easier for you and I think more functional. We can go out wide if you're working on this position or out wide here. And of course, we can go shoulder taps as well. So after you do one little round, you go right back to it. Push up, shoulder tap, shoulder tap. So again, we repeat that as many times as possible. The third movement is gonna be a jumping jack to air squat. And I laugh because I know everybody's gonna be very uncoordinated when they do this. When I do this, sometimes I get a bit discombobulated. Let me show you what I mean. Normally, we do our jumping jacks like this. This time, we're gonna do a jumping jack to air squat, jumping jack to air squat, just like that, or another hip substitute movement. So if we're on our knees, it's gonna be the same thing. We're doing a jumping jack and then low kneel to high kneel. If we're sitting down, I recognize we cannot get another hip movement. So I think for athletes that are seated, let's just do jumping jacks. That's enough. Or if you're doing if you're sitting on top of something, potentially you could do a jumping jack with a sit to stand. So that's another option. We have so many variations with our athletes. Think about this critically. What I'm looking for is a jumping jack plus some other hip squat movement. But I don't want any transition in between. I want you to kind of go from one to the other. So if you're in a different situation, let's get a little more creative. Okay, so that is our third round. We do as many of those as possible. And then the fourth minute, we rest for the whole minute. And we breathe and we relax. and we start again at the top. Since it's 24 minutes, this is gonna be 6 rounds that we're gonna do. Now, let's go back to how we're gonna get this work done and not spend a lot of time transitioning. So this is really gonna be on you guys to make sure you pick what point in the minute you stop. Now, before, I was always kind of stopping everybody in a normal EMOM at 40 seconds saying, hey, stop your work, take a rest, and get ready to move. This time, I'm not gonna tell you to stop. Now, if we're fully able and have quick transitions, I want you running right up to that 55-second mark and then kind of move to your next position or grab your weight or whatever you need, and then you go. However, if it takes you a little longer to change positions, like say you're on the floor for one movement and standing for another, take the extra time. Stop at the 50-minute mark, stop at the 40-minute mark. So practice these movements, practice the transitions, and I want everybody to be nice and smooth, okay? We'll of course do a couple practice rounds at the beginning of our workout, but I don't want to spend the entire time kind of shuffling through it. What I don't want is people not starting on the minute. All right, so that is our challenge for today. We have our movements. I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon.